This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Companion. This one was written and directed by Drew Hancock. The movie stars Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Suri, Harvey Guillén, Rupert Friend, and some other folks in here as well. The synopsis for this movie is listed on IMDb. A weekend getaway at a friend's remote cabin turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem. So, here we go. Companion. This one I checked out first week in February, I want to say. It was about then. So this is a good couple of weeks ago. I'm also going to say that this movie had been completely spoiled for me by the internet. And I would love to say this is one of the reasons I'm coming off social media altogether, but it's not. It was maybe the final straw that broke the camel's back, but no. This is because I waited off too long. Now, I will also say that I had seen the trailer for this movie, and the revelation maybe wasn't so much a revelation because I actually felt in the trailer they kind of given quite a bit away. That being said, Companion is the sort of movie that I do not want to be the person to spoil this for you. So what I will say is that it will be incredibly difficult for me to review this one in detail. So when we get to maybe the mid-year and I do my top 10 horror movies of the year so far, I will probably at that point spoil this movie. So removing that out of the way, what I will say about Companion is that I found it very funny, actually a whole hell of a lot funnier than I was actually expecting. I didn't expect this movie to be a kind of black horror comedy, but there is that. There's a kind of Death Becomes Her vibe in this movie, which I kind of loved, because I kind of loved Death Becomes Her. So just in terms of tone and atmosphere and dark comedy, there is like really great performances in this. Jack Quaid seems to be everywhere at the moment. He's got that brand new action movie Novocaine about to come out, which I genuinely think looks like a ton of fun, and I will be going to check it out. But you know, having watched him in The Boys, and him just appearing in quite a lot of things recently, the Scream movies for example, it kind of makes me wonder, like, has he always been around acting and I've only just picked up on him since The Boys, or is it a case of he did such a good job in that series that boom, he's now everywhere? He's great in this. Sophie Thatcher is also great in this. But the two of them kind of fighting off each other, and a kind of almost I was going to say Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's a bad comparison. Let's go back to Death Becomes Her in a kind of Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn sort of way. Is kind of amazing. There is a revelation that comes out about the relationship and how it is actually possibly built on lies, and a betrayal which ultimately gets quite vengeful and bloody and happens in a way where you are given striking visuals, like a really fast pace, really witty fun dialogue, and a lot more kind of blood and violence than I was actually expecting, in a kind of really awesome way. Like, the movie zips right through, once again very similar to the other movie that we've spoken about, that being Presence. This is one of these ones where I kind of felt like if last year was full of movies that dragged their heels, this year so far has been movies that zip at pace, kind of flip through things, have a kind of really kinetic and almost frenetic energy of let's get scenes going, if we're going to have gore, let's get the gore coming, let's get the kills going, let's not spend half an hour setting up a story, let's just zip, let's get this done. And Companion had that for me in spades. I also think that the twists and turns, even though this movie was, and I'm going to stress this again, spoiled for me by the internet. It didn't detract from my enjoyment, even knowing what the big reveal was, the coup de grace at the end. I actually found that I kind of wasn't maybe spending too much kind of real estate in my brain trying to work out what the twist might be. Now, if you've ever been to the cinema with me or you speak to the Baz, you can go away and speak to him offline if you want. He will tell you that my brain is always turning when I'm watching a movie, and I'm forever leaning over at him kind of as soon as I think I've solved it, maybe giving clues the fact that I may have solved the movie, which can be an immensely frustrating thing if you are my friend. It can also be an immensely frustrating thing for me because my brain won't switch off until that reveal comes, and I'm like, right, I can finally relax. And sometimes movies on a second or a third viewing play a lot better for me than that first viewing because my brain is able to switch off. So in the case of this one, having that taken out, that like need to solve the mystery, be gone from my brain, allowed me to sink more in and enjoy the kind of ludicrous, over the top nature of it. It's a surprisingly bright, surprisingly violent movie, and I talked about the kind of how bloody it was, but the violence in the movie as well is right out there and right up front in a kind of fun, playful way, but also in a kind of somber way. It kind of deals with at moments the ideas of what actually is love in a relationship and who merits it and who doesn't, and how we can fall for things that might be seen as irrational, but our connection to them is maybe deeper than muscles, organs, and flesh. So, and that's probably as far as I can go before I ruin anything. So, I found all that really riveting, and it hung together really well. If I had any kind of complaints about this one overall, I would say that maybe my biggest complaint on the movie was that I can't even say because it was spoiled for me, because that's not fair. It does kind of have a feel of some horror movies I've seen in the last couple of years about relationships, kind of almost toxic relationships, which I know are like fertile ground for filmmakers, but there's a lot of that sort of horror stuff flying around just now, and this kind of feels like one of the better ones for sure, but I do feel like I've seen a lot of this genre already, and I could maybe do with it going away for a wee while, so it could come back and I could appreciate it more. How can I love you if I see you all the time? That is literally nothing you should ever say to a spouse. So, but there's a kind of feeling of there's a lot of kind of toxic relationship horror movies around just now, and so it didn't feel remarkable that way. That being said, overall, fun, enjoyable, witty, fast, right to the point, very, very, very good. Enjoyed it quite a bit. So in terms of my grade, I think I gave this a 3.5 on Letterboxd. The thing about it is, I think if I watch this again, I'll give it a 4, but I need to stick true to that initial grade that I gave it. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. A ton of fun. Highly recommend. Please go and check it out. So that was my review of Companion, which came out just over a month ago in the UK, and it got a 3.5 out of 5 from me. Also, this is me saying that this is the second and final YouTube movie review you're getting this week. There will be another 2 reviews coming for you if you're checking out the video content next week, where you'll get a review of Heart Eyes and a review of The Monkey. If you're checking out the audio version or checking this out on Spotify and or Anchor, where you get the video podcast version of this, or you're checking it out next week in the combined episode that drops, the full episode podcast that'll be on YouTube, then this will all appear as one episode. You don't need to worry about any of this stuff. But if you are on that YouTube, easiest way to make sure you catch up with everything I do is like, subscribe, and ding the bell so you're notified every time we drop some new content. And with that, we are going to bring it in and close out the show.